Okay, now this is how the Bible wheel works. Now consider the 17th letter, Pe, which means mouth, the organ of speech, and the 17th book of the second cycle, which is Malachi. 17 plus 22 is 39. The book of Malachi talks about chapter 1, of course, verse 1, the burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. Chapter 2, verse 6 says, the law of truth was in his mouth, and iniquity was not found in his lips. He walked with me in peace and equity, and did turn many away from iniquity. This is referring to the priesthood. And jumping to 1 Kings chapter 17, there's something similar written in verse 24. And the woman said to Elijah, now by this I know that thou art a man of God, and that the word of the Lord in thy mouth is truth. Remember what was said in Malachi. It says, the law of truth was in his mouth. Then moving on to the inner wheel of John 17, we find something similar. It says, sanctify them through thy truth, thy word is truth. Okay, now we know that the 17th book of the second cycle, Malachi, the 17th chapter of 1 Kings, and the 17th chapter of the Gospel of John have something in common, which is has to do with mouth, word of God, and truth. And now we come to the inner wheel of Deuteronomy chapter 17. Verse 4, and it be told thee, and thou hast heard of it, and inquired diligently, and behold, it be true, and the thing certain, that such abomination is wrought in Israel. Verse 6, at the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is worthy of death be put to death, but at the mouth of 1 witness he shall not be put to death. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Lord his God, to keep all the words of this law and these statutes to do them. Well, if you want to know how judgment takes place, it's by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, and that's where truth comes out. And once again, it has to do with the mouth and truth. Near the end of the chapter, verse 19, that's where it talks about the king once sitting on the throne, the king of Israel, being anointed. He's going to need a copy of the law next to him, so he should meditate on it and act upon it. Moving on to the inner wheel of Isaiah chapter 39, where Isaiah was speaking to Hezekiah concerning him showing off his wealth to the ambassadors from Babylon. In Isaiah 39 verse 8, then said Hezekiah to Isaiah, good is the word of the Lord which thou hast spoken. He said, "Moreover, for there shall be peace and truth in my days." I mean, this time, it's the word of God spoken by the mouth of Isaiah. It doesn't say mouth, but there are other words in common, such as peace and truth. Peace isn't highlighted over here, but it was mentioned in Malachi. It says, "The law of truth was in his mouth, and iniquity was not found in his lips. He walked with me in peace and equity, and did turn many away from iniquity."